The Arizona Cardinals are looking for their first NFC West division title in 10 years. Who are the biggest competitors that could stand in their way? Johnny, Venerable, Bo, Brack, PHNX Cardinals, and Bo. I guess we have to start with the defending champion, the LA Rams.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, that's probably the darling of this division outside of kind of the vomit-inducing just hype train behind the San Francisco 49ers. But legitimately, if Matthew Stafford can stay healthy, and that's a big if, as the guy missed the bulk of training camp in the preseason with elbow and back issues, you look at this team with the addition of Davante Adams. They added another weapon on the offensive end and an up-and-coming defense. And Sean McVay, of course, being a top 3 coach in this league. They are, of course, always going to be a team that's going to be in the way of winning a division.
Yeah, it's frustrating if you're a Cardinal fan. That was a team that was dead and buried last year. Hell, we buried them on our show. 3 games under 500 to begin the year, and the Cardinals let them back into the race, right? It's like Denny Green once said, they had them, and, unfortunately, they are who we thought they were, and they are a contending Super Bowl viable team because of the combination of Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford. But here's what I'll say. I'm going to talk to some people earlier this offseason. Like, the plan for Stafford is like to barely practice this year. If you're Kyler Murray and you're Jonathan Gannon, you have pride in what you do, and you're supposed to be going into the prime of your career, you can't be being beat by a nearly 40-year-old quarterback with a broken back, right? And Davante Adams, who's, right now on the wrong side of 30. Puka Nacua is still great. They've got Williams. Their defense is good. Cardinals put up 40-plus points against them last year. Cardinals defense, by the way, held the Rams to under 20 points in both games. Really should have swept them outside of a fluky playoff of Trey McBride's helmet in Week 17. So, yeah, I think by default, they are the favorite. I don't know how you can say otherwise. I mean, as much as I want to pen the Cardinals as the favorite because I believe in what they're building, Rams have too much cachet, and unfortunately, like Jared Verse, Braden Fisk, as good as they were last year, probably much better this year.
Yeah, the few things you can hang your hat on, though, is getting into the health of Stafford and understanding they don't have much room for any more deterioration.
Yeah.
Right? You look at the numbers, they're pretty pedestrian last year. I agree with you as far as Adams. I think he's a good addition. It's not great.
Right.
He's a good, number 2 to Puka. But what were they able to accomplish as far as the draft? This wasn't like the roster where you're adding to it and you've got these stars. You got star power as far as like Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. Like this was a budding defense, but like they weren't able to take premium draft picks and invest them and infuse this roster and continue to churn that. So they're pretty similar to last year. And Johnny, this was a team that nearly lost to the Cardinals and nearly weren't a postseason team, but they continue to kind of get this hype surrounding them. And look, deservedly so. Like Sean McVay's got that track record. So, but they're not this team that I feel like is too tough to overcome. Like they happen to be a team that I think is probably in the best situation to be in front of the Cardinals in the NFC West.
They're not a juggernaut. I mean, I think they tied for first place and they won the tiebreaker. And who did they tie with? Seattle Seahawks. So we keep this train moving. I think Seattle probably has, in my opinion, outside of the Cardinals, the most upside because I think they've team built the right way. They made some questionable moves. Like I would not have traded DK Metcalf. I would not have signed Cooper Kupp. But they said, you know what, we've hit a ceiling with Geno Smith, who, by the way, was unbeaten against the Cardinals as the Seahawks quarterback. And they brought in Sam Darnold. And Sam Darnold, to me, he looked pretty good this preseason, but there's also been reports like hasn't vibed well with the offensive line. You worry about inclement weather with Sam. Sam flourished last year with Kevin O'Connell, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison inside a dome, right? And then as the year went on, was not very good, was horrendous in the playoff game here in Arizona where the Vikings lost to the LA Rams. I think Seattle has the infrastructure to win this division. I actually like their ceiling more than the Rams, but I just think with Darnold in particular and the loss of DK Metcalf, man, you're putting a lot on that offense to just kind of take that next step. I don't think they have the parts to do that.
They're a strange case in the fact that they are a team that you have a ton of questions as far as that offense goes.
Mm-hmm.
They're not getting a lot of hype as far as being atop of this division, but the worst matchup for this Arizona Cardinals team. Like when we talk about hurdles and things that are going to stay in the way of the Arizona Cardinals as far as getting to where they want to go, and that's atop the NFC West standings, they're going to have to change their fortunes against the Seattle Seahawks. And the way they do that is playing better offensive football against this strong defense And then also hoping that Sam Darnold and this offense, it's just, especially like in week 4 on Thursday Night Football, just not there yet. And like, this isn't going to be Sam Darnold with the Vikings. There's no Kevin O'Connell. There's no Justin Jefferson. There's no stability on the offensive line. This is going to be a regression. And as far as the playmakers, as you mentioned, it's not there. But as far as the Cardinals go, like when they're playing the Seahawks on the 2 times that they do this season, it's going to be important for them to win those games more so than it's been before.
The combination of Byron Murphy, Leonard Williams is as good as it gets. I think this year they've got Ernest Jones. Jaron Reed's a good player.
Mafe, sure.
Mafe. They've got Devin Witherspoon, one of the best corners. They took Amawori, the safety out of South Carolina. Like, a defense is going to be a hassle for this team to overcome. And that's where you have to lean on the Arizona Cardinals taking that next step offensively. But that's not going to be the case with our last team to preview. And I'd like to cue up the meme with Shaquille O'Neal on Twitter where he goes, barbecue chicken alert, barbecue chicken alert. San Francisco 49ers are unequivocally the biggest fraud in this division.
Yeah.
They are resting on their laurels of years prior. The roster, everything I just said positively about the Seahawks defense, go take a look at the depth chart for the San Francisco 49ers defense and get your barf bag ready. They have no defensive tackles of note. It's Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, and that's about it. Their secondary is not any good. They lost Tre'Davious Ward. They lost Ufunga. Michael Williams has been out of training camp, right? He's been injured just like Walter Nolan. Greenlaw's gone. He's with the Denver Broncos. And then on the offensive side, it's like Brock Purdy, Ricky Pearsall, George Kittle, old Christian McCaffrey. I think this team, again, the only reason they're going to be somewhat viable is because their out of division schedule is the biggest cakewalk, dog water schedule you've ever seen in your life. But the Cardinals need to go into Santa Clara in week 3, and when they host them later in the year, just like last year, and assert their dominance. I would rather play this Niner team 6 straight times than play anybody else in the West.
Yeah, they match up great. They match up great because of the trench play that you're anticipating from the Cardinals, which was, going in the right direction, especially on the offensive side last year. And then like they were able to handle this Niners offensive line that didn't get much better this year. You're right. You look at the depth chart, like there's so much, they get such a long leash and too much credit, in 2023 where they make this run, but you look at that roster and it's completely different. And sure, they've got key players remaining holdovers from that, but that are coming off of missing significant time with McCaffrey, with Trent Williams, and having Brock Purdy coming off that big contract extension, having to be the same quarterback without the Avengers at the playmaking positions outside of, George Kittle, who's also not a young buck anymore. He's going to be 31, 32 years old. The idea that this defense by adding the play caller back to it and Robert Saleh, that they're going to go from 29th in points allowed to, where they are going to have to be with this offense taking a step back with a couple of their key playmakers gone. Like Ayuk's not going to be back until at least week 6. Debo's gone. They traded him. I just think it's naive to think that this is a team that's really going to be like a true player in the NFC. And I think it's a matchup. It's a good matchup for the Cardinals potentially, and they should be able to finish ahead of them.
Yeah, like I roll my eyes at people. The people are throwing around the stat like when Shanahan and McCaffrey and Brock Purdy are all together, they make the Super Bowl every year. They make the NFC Championship. It's just
until they don't, man.
Until they don't.
Yeah,
because of how old and broken this team. Like Christian McCaffrey, let's be real for a second. The odds that he plays, number one, all 17 games, minimal. The odds that he's anywhere near the player he was 2 years ago. Running backs don't get better after flipping 500 plus touch seasons like he had 2 years ago. And then, by the way, missing all last year. That's not like tackle or defensive end. We're going to take some time off and get refreshed. Like your legs are everything. And to me, it's like, will he be productive? Sure. But there's a huge gap between what he was and then just being an average NFL starting running back. And they need him to be what he was, I think, more so than any player. And there's no way that happens.
The way I see this division, it's the Rams are, the clear-cut favorite. I think most people would agree with that. And then just by my own viewpoint, Seattle is the two most important games, I think, on this division slate.
Yeah.
And that the Cardinals, they just don't match up as well, and they play a role as far as where they want to go in this. But if I'm just ranking the divisional opponents, it's LA, it's Seattle, and then firmly San Francisco.
Easily. And why have the Rams given Kyler Murray problems historically, and why are the Seahawks a bad matchup? Aaron Donald for the LA Rams, the interior pressure, Kyler Murray does not handle that well. He hasn't handled it well with Seattle now, with Leonard Williams last year dominating both games. I mean, the Rams, we didn't mention, like, Byron Young's a good player, and then Fisk is coming on. Like, that's the opposite of the strength of the 49ers. Like, Kyler Murray has made Nick Bosa miss in the open field plenty of times. They have no defensive tackles. This is not Armstead and Buckner. This is Joe Blow, undrafted free agent, Alfred Collins in the second round. I mean, Cardinals, we need to see them put up crooked numbers in the passing game. They could probably roll into Santa Clara this year and run the football 50 times in 13 personnel. How is that Niner team going to stop it? So roles have shifted, but I do think the hierarchy with the top three teams, I think very much similarly how they ended last year. Sure. You're only going to be separated by a game or two. It's going to be very competitive.
How do you see it playing out? Which teams do you view as the biggest roadblocks to the Arizona Cardinals to winning the NFC West? Rams, Seahawks, Niners? When I hear your thoughts in the comments, drop a like and subscribe to PHNX Sports here on YouTube.